Multiplication and division is about matching. Combinations are all about teams. Find the teams that go together, okay? Let's look at a couple more, because this is a little more complex than just those two. -8 sometimes will show with a positive and then a parenthesis -2. We want to already start to put in the idea that this parenthesis is like a prison. We're trapped in there, okay? He didn't really do it. He's an innocent guy. We got to get him out, okay? He's got to get out of there. Well, most of us have the understanding that parentheses mean multiplication, okay? We've understood that, that dot, maybe way back when, the X, but we're not going to use that anymore. The dot and parentheses are multiplication. Well, who is this being multiplied by? Well, there's this lonely positive sitting there. How many positives do I have? I have a positive sign. Well, just like $1 is $1, an apple is one apple, so on and so forth, that one positive, or that positive, must be a 1. And that clarifies for us who is being multiplied. Well, we already learned integer multiplication just for this reason. So we're going to multiply these guys, get him out of there. We're going to multiply him out, okay? It's like the Maryland police letting him out of prison, okay? They found out he didn't do it, boom, he goes free. Well, 1 times 2 will never change. It will always be 2. That should never be the difficult part. We check the signs to see if they match. No luck. So he's a -2. Well, then there's -8s over here, all right? They're on the same team. They want to join up. They join together. They combine. How? By joining together to make more negatives. 9 and 10. Start at 8, 2 more, 9, 10, -10. Okay? Let's look at another one. -10, +15. Very similar to the one we did earlier. Different teams. Different teams are going to do what? How are they going to combine? They're going to battle. They're going to compete against each other on the field. Okay? They want to have the most runs, the most goals, what have you. Well, clearly here, who won this game? The positives won. Okay? We just had to find out what they won by. What was their margin of victory? Well, I can either count down, 15, 14, 13, 12, and 11. So those are the ones that I get to before I get to 10, right? So it must have been by 5, or I can go at 10, from 10 up to 15, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Either way, I understand that it's a margin of 5. Who had the win? The positives, +5. Let's look at 2 more. If we have 8 with a negative and a -4 trapped in parentheses, there's 2 things I need to do in this problem first. I realize this parentheses here, and I know he must be multiplied out. Well, I need to find out who's letting him out. Okay, I can't do anything else in the parentheses itself, but he's still trapped in there. How am I going to get him out? Well, I see this negative sign. I have a negative. Again, that must be 1 negative. So I put my 1 in. I look over here at this guy. I want to make sure that he's clearly identified too. He's going to be a what? A positive. No sign. Just like all the numbers you've really gone through in your life, you've been on the positive side of the number line, from 0 up. They're all positives. That's a +8. So we have this +8 and we have -1 times -4. Based on the order of operations, what are we going to do first? PEM.C, because addition is not addition, it's not subtraction, it's a combination of the two. That clearly comes after the M in PEM.C. So we're going to go ahead and do the multiplication before we do this combination of these 2 groups. Well, when we do that multiplication, we know that we're going to have a negative answer. We're going to have a positive answer because they match. Well, 1 times 4 never changes. It's always +4. So we had a matching situation, made the positive, +4, and +8. We're done with the multiplication. It's not about matching anymore. Now we're on to our teams. We're trying to combine these 2 groups. Well, are these groups on the same team? Sure. They're both on the positives. So when they join up, they're going to stay positive. They're not going to switch. They're not going to be traitors and flip to the other team just because the other team won, or whatever you want to think of. They're going to stick it out. Okay? They're going to stay on the same team. Well, 8 and 4 join together, go from 8. 9, 10, 11, 12. Go from 4, count up 8. However you need to do it. You'll start to figure out that these combinations, there's always kind of some specific outcomes to it. 8 and 4 are either going to make a 12 or they're going to make a 4. You just have to figure out if they're joining or battling. And the better you get, the quicker this comes to you, and just the easier it'll be. In this case, clearly they're joining. That's going to make a +12. Okay? Last one. -8, -12. Again, there he is, trapped. wrongfully accused. Got to get him out. Got to get him free, okay? So let's go ahead and take a look. How are we going to get him out of parentheses? We know there's multiplication there. Start to understand that multiplication is what lets you out of parentheses. The Maryland police, there they are. They let you out, okay? So who's the guard? Who's watching this prison? That negative must be a -1. That's his badge number. So we want to keep track of these things. We don't want just anybody watching, the prison. So hopefully we see that this is going to be a matching situation again. Makes a positive answer. 1 times 12 never changes. Always 12. -8 and +12. Here we're thinking teams. Not multiplication division where we're doing our matching. Now we're to our teams. We're trying to combine this group and that group, okay? Those two groups of people. Well, they're playing against each other, okay? They're competing. They're battling it out on the field. They want to win, okay? Competition is about winning. Well, which team's going to win here? The positives. How many are the positives going to win by? Well, I can go from 8 to 12. 9, 10, 11, 12. There's my 4, okay? So it's a +4. And that really is all it is about integer combination. Again, remember, it's not addition, it's not subtraction, it's a combination of the two. A lot of times it'll look like addition and it may end up like subtraction, okay? It may look like subtraction and it ends up like addition. So we get rid of those and just focus on being a combination somehow. Somehow those numbers go together. Let's use some common sense to think about it. A real world situation that we all understand. Think about those teams. Teams are the same, they join. If they're not the same, if they're different, they battle each other out on the field to see who wins. Very simple, very easy. Good luck with your integer combinations.